I don't have a lot to say because I can't get my words together right now, but I wanted everybody to know that this is what those officers took from me. At the end of the day, they get to go home and be with their families. Shiana does not have a father. He will never see her grow up, graduate. He will never walk her down the aisle. If it's a problem she's having and she needs her dad, she does not have that anymore. I'm here for my baby. And I'm here for George because I want justice for him.
We'll step over here just a second. Okay. Y'all stay behind us. Okay. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, the lead attorney for the family of George Floyd.
Quiet, please.
I'm Attorney Ben Crump, the lead attorney for the family of George Floyd, and recently arriving in Minneapolis is his son, Quincy Mason. He's going to make a few remarks to you. Understand this is a young man who is brokenhearted, and this is very emotional for him.
I'm here reunited with my family, trying to get justice for my father. And no man or woman should be without their fathers.
We want justice.
And we want justice for what's going on right now. And I appreciate everyone for showing him some support and love. I thank y'all for that.
This is so emotional.
Quincy, we've seen a lot of protests.
This is so emotional. Yeah.
Quincy, we've seen so many protests around the world, including Australia, about what's happened to your father. A lot of people there are protesting about what's happened to Indigenous people of colour in custody in Australia. Do you have any message to them about what is happening?
I just want to thank them for supporting my family and receive justice.
No matter what may come my way, my life is in your hands. You don't have to worry, and don't you be afraid. Joy comes in the morning. Troubles, they don't last always. For there's a friend named Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart...
I remember the curfew, and I remember rushing back home, and on that drive home seeing ash fall from the sky and smelling the smoke and seeing the smoke billow out of buildings and seeing people run out of buildings carrying bags and looting. And I remember seeing men in the back of a van just holding guns and rifles. And I remember pulling up to the house and seeing the tree that had always been there completely charred. And those memories don't go away. And I can't imagine that at 17 or 18 years old, which is how old you are now, that you would have to have a different version of that same type of experience. That's something that you should have an understanding of, but an understanding of as a history lesson, not as your reality. So I am sorry that in a way we have not gotten the world to the place that you deserve it to be. The other thing, though, that I do remember about that time was how people came together. And we are seeing that right now. We are seeing that from the sheriff in Michigan or the police chief in Virginia. We are seeing people stand in solidarity. We are seeing communities come together and to uplift. And you are going to be part of this movement.
Well, I've heard that phrase for a long time. I don't know where it came from, where it originated. I view that phrase as...
In 1967, the Miami police
Well, I don't know.
chief
I've also
used it.
heard from many other places, but I've heard it for a long time, as most people have. And frankly, it means when there's looting, people get shot and they die. And if you look at what happened last night and the night before, you see that. It's very common. And that's the way that was meant, and that's the way I think it was supposed to be meant. But I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it originated. I wouldn't know a thing like that. But I will say it's very accurate in the sense that when you do have looting, like you had last night, people often get shot and they die, and that's not good, and we don't want that to happen. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the past, you've criticized NFL players for their protest against police brutality. Given what we've seen with George Floyd and what we saw with the delays in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, does that change your views around those NFL protests? And also, given that you had a message for those in the streets in Minneapolis, do you have a statement to make about the police that are involved in such police brutality incidents?
Yeah, I didn't like what I saw at all. I thought it was a terrible thing, a terrible picture. I think that it's sad in so many ways from the standpoint of the family. When you look at George Floyd and his family and you see what that's done to them, just a terrible thing. He was in tremendous pain, obviously, and couldn't breathe. It was very obvious to anybody that watched it. It was a very, very sad thing for me to see that. We also know that most policemen, you see the great job they do. They do a fantastic job, but this was a terrible insult to police and to policemen. And I know the Justice Department will, as you know, it's a local case, but I know the Justice Department is also looking at it very strongly.
That's it. There we go. Don't think for a second that he represents who these cops are from all over the county and around this nation. We go out there to help people, not do that nonsense. There we go. I just want to tell you, where's my man? Right there. Where's the gentleman?
Oh, I think he took off.
Okay, yeah, my man.
He took off.
Pastor Hawkins, see, I was going to tell you, we want to be with y'all for real. So I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. I want to make this a parade, not a protest. You got little ones here, you got dogs, so what's up? So listen, I'm just telling you, these cops love you. That cop over there hugs people, so you tell us what you need to do.
Walk with us! 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 Walk with us!
Let's walk! Let's walk!
When sometimes I feel despair, I just see what's happening with young people all across the country and the talent and the voice and the sophistication that they're displaying, and it makes me feel optimistic. It makes me feel as if, you know, this country is going to get better. Now, I want to speak directly to the young men and women of color in this country, who, as Cleon just so eloquently described, have witnessed too much violence and too much death. And too often, some of that violence has come from folks who were supposed to be serving and protecting you. I want you to know that you matter. I want you to know that your lives matter, that your dreams matter. And when I go home and I look at the faces of my daughters, Sasha and Malia, and I look at my nephews and nieces, I see limitless potential that deserves to flourish and thrive. And you should be able to learn and make mistakes and live a life of joy without having to worry about what's going to happen when you walk to the store or go for a jog or are driving down the street or looking at some birds in a